Hello and welcome back to Koala Moon, a podcast of original children's bedtime stories and meditations designed to make bedtime a dream. This is Where's My Teddy by Alicia Ainsley. We all have our own special routines that help us get to sleep each night. Some of us like a scrumptious drink before bed or a warm bubble bath to help us wind down. Some of us like listening to a bedtime story, and others simply want to curl up with a blanket that smells familiar and soothing. Kukai just needed one thing: her little teddy bear. Kukai was a koala. She was a sweet little thing with light pink fur and big round ears. She had a fuzzy white patch of fur on her belly in the shape of a cloud, and each of her hands and feet had white palms and soles too. Kukai lived in Sleepy Forest, just like her older cousin, Koko. It was the perfect place for a child as young and dreamy as Kukai. Kukai lived with her mummy and daddy in a cottage surrounded by eucalyptus trees. The calming scent of eucalyptus floated on the breeze day in and day out, creating a truly relaxing atmosphere. Their homey cottage was lilac in colour, with two little pointed turrets poking out of the roof on either side of the building, creating the impression that they lived in a tiny castle. It was a dreamy fairy tale cottage with a big long garden that Kukai loved to play in. Her mother and father were very proud of their garden, and they spent the weekends tending to the beautiful flowers and plants that grew in it. Kukai liked to help her parents dig up the weeds and sow new seeds. There was a blackberry bush at the bottom of the garden that Kukai had helped to plant, and it was already starting to bloom with luscious, juicy berries. They were delicious. Kukai loved to play games of make-believe, and she made use of every room in the house to do so. She often pretended to be a famous chef in the kitchen and envisioned that she was filming her own cooking TV show. She imagined she was swimming in the ocean in her mummy's study, which had a big glass aquarium wall stretching along the side of it. She would pretend to swim next to the fish in the aquarium and imagine what kind of conversations she would have with them. Kukai would dream up adventures in the living room and hop from sofa to sofa, using them as stepping stones across imaginary rivers. Then she would visualize swashbuckling pirates all around and pretend to battle with them for gold. Kukai's imagination had no bounds, and she loved her games of make-believe. However, concocting such thrilling fantasies could get quite tiring after a while, and Kukai often needed a nap in the middle of the day to regather her energy. So she would grab her trusty teddy bear and snuggle up in bed for an hour or two to raise enough energy to play through the afternoon. It was a foolproof plan, except for one thing. Kukai couldn't sleep without her teddy. So, if she misplaced it, it could cause quite a conundrum. One day, after a long morning of playing around the house, Kukai was ready for her usual daily nap. She yawned and stretched her little pink fuzzy arms above her head. Then she sighed as she looked around the room. The dinosaurs she had just befriended in her imagination faded away, and all that was left was her normal bedroom. "It's time for a little sleep," Kukai said to herself as she climbed onto her bed to get comfortable. She pulled up the covers and nestled her head down into the pillow, then reached out for her teddy bear expectantly. Her little hand patted the mattress next to her and scrambled around to feel for her teddy's fluffy paw, but she came up short. Kukai sat back up in bed and checked that her teddy hadn't slipped under the covers, but she couldn't see it there. She peered under her pillow, but it hadn't disappeared under there either. Next, she hopped off the bed and checked that her teddy hadn't fallen over the side and rolled under the bed frame, but she couldn't spot it. She squinted her eyes and peered into the dimmed light beneath her bed. She couldn't spot her teddy, but her eyes lit up as she spied something she hadn't seen in a while. She reached out her hand and grabbed it, pulling it towards her. It was her old baby blanket. Kukai hadn't used this in a long time, but as she held it up to her face and inhaled its familiar scent, she was reminded why she loved this blanket so much. When she was a baby, Kukai's parents would tuck her up in the crib underneath this faded yellow blanket with her teddy bear by her side. She used to have the longest, most peaceful nights of sleep then. The blanket brought back many tranquil memories as she sniffed it and she sighed with happiness. Kukai wondered if she might be able to take a nap with the comfort of her old blanket by her side. But as she lay down in bed to try, it felt wrong. She missed her teddy. Kukai stood up and gazed around her bedroom in case she had laid it down somewhere else, but she couldn't spot it. She rifled through the stuffed toys lined up on her dressing table in case her teddy was among them, but it wasn't. She opened up her wardrobe doors and checked again across the floor, but there was no sign of Teddy. Kukai was baffled. "I've found my old blanket, but where's my teddy?" she muttered with confusion. She could have sworn she left her teddy in her room like she normally did. But perhaps she had been so caught up in one of her games of make-believe that she hadn't realized she had carried her teddy out with her. It must be lying somewhere around the house. She decided to ask her mummy for help. Her mother was always good at finding things Kukai had lost. She knew where everything was in the house. Kukai headed downstairs to search for her mummy. She found her working away in her study. Kukai's mother liked to write stories, and she often wrote ones especially for Kukai's bedtime. It was one of Kukai's favourite parts of the day, hearing her mother's soothing voice while she snuggled up with her teddy was the best feeling in the world. Her mother was writing away in a journal, deep in thought, and Kukai didn't want to interrupt her. So, while she waited, Kukai watched the fish in the aquarium swimming along without a care in the world. Their multicoloured scales reflected the light from the office window so that they shimmered as they swam. The fish blew bubbles as they gaped open their mouths and closed them again, and Kukai giggled. Kukai wondered if that was the way that fish spoke to one another. Maybe the koalas just couldn't hear their voices since they were underwater. After a few minutes, Kukai's mother turned around in her chair and greeted her with a smile. "Mummy," Kukai asked, "where's my teddy?" Her mother responded, "I don't know, darling. Have you checked under your bed?" Kukai said that she had, so her mother asked if she had moved her teddy or taken it somewhere with her. Kukai couldn't recall moving her teddy from her bedroom. She had no idea where it could be. Kukai's mummy wiggled her fairy purple koala ears as she thought. She hadn't noticed the teddy anywhere while she had been walking around the house. Perhaps the teddy had been packed away somewhere, she suggested. Maybe it was in a cupboard. Kukai yawned. She really wanted her nap, but she couldn't sleep without her beloved teddy, so she set out on a teddy bear hunt around the house. Maybe her mother was right. Maybe her teddy had been accidentally packed away in a cupboard. She began by searching in the downstairs cupboard. Her daddy might have packed away her teddy whilst tidying the house yesterday. Kukai opened the cupboard door and was met by shelves and shelves of neatly packed boxes. Each box was labelled with names like Bits and Bobs, Old Clothes, and Garden Stuff. This was clearly where her daddy stored everything that they didn't use very often. Maybe he had accidentally put her teddy in there too? Kukai started to pull the boxes down from the shelves, one by one, and rummaged through them. In the box of Bits and Bobs, she found an old piggy bank that she used to have in her bedroom, and a puzzle game that she had long forgotten about. In the Old Clothes box, she discovered her old pair of bright orange Wellington boots that no longer fit, and a woolly hat that she had worn 2 winters ago. She tried the hat on and it still fit snugly over her ears, so she hung onto it to wear on chillier days. Kukai peeked inside the box of garden stuff, but didn't find anything except for some packs of seeds she wanted to plant next spring, and she pulled down the box of old photos, just in case her teddy had accidentally fallen in there. However, she couldn't find her teddy in any of the boxes. Kukai held on to the items she had discovered during her search and inspected them. She lamented, I found my old piggy bank, my puzzle, and my woolly winter hat, but where's my teddy? Kukai wasn't ready to give up just yet. There were lots of rooms in her family's cottage, and her cherished teddy bear could be in any of them. Kukai assumed she must have misplaced her teddy and left it lying around while she was playing make-believe. So she attempted to retrace her steps from the morning. She went into the kitchen to see if she had any luck in there. She searched in all of the cupboards. She checked the kitchen sink. She even looked in the refrigerator. But still, there was no sign of her teddy. So she moved on to the living room where she often liked to play. She pulled all the cushions off the sofa to see if her teddy had fallen behind them. She flipped through the books on the bookshelves in case she had wedged it between them. And she peered under the coffee table in case her teddy had tumbled underneath. But there was no sign of it anywhere. Where's my teddy? Kukai asked with exasperation. She was starting to wonder if she would ever find her teddy. Where on earth could it be? She scratched her furry head and racked her brain for other places she could look. There was another place in the house where her parents liked to store things away, a place much bigger than the downstairs cupboard. It was a long shot, but Kukai decided to give it a try. Kukai climbed the stairs of the cottage all the way to the top of the tallest castle-like turret of their home. When she reached the top, she approached a big wooden door with a big brass handle. It was the door to the attic. Kukai's parents kept a lot of things in the attic. Kukai turned the handle, opened the creaky door, and stepped inside. As Kukai walked around the little attic room, she wondered why her parents never used it. The attic was charming, with small round windows and wooden floors. It would make a great bedroom. As Kukai walked around, she grew to love it more and more. Later on, she thought she might ask her parents if she could move her things into the attic and turn it into her own bedroom. It was tiny, but so was she. Kukai could picture it now. A slick of pink paint on the walls, some flowers on the windowsill, and a fluffy rug on the floor would make the attic extra cozy. She could hang up the paintings she liked to make on the circular walls and line up all of her cuddly toys on the bench by the window that overlooked the treetops of Sleepy Forest. It was a nice idea, but none of it mattered if Kukai couldn't find her teddy. She needed it to fall asleep, and what use was a good bedroom if you couldn't fall asleep in it? Kukai searched through the attic for signs of her treasured stuffed bear. She lifted up dusty sheets from furniture and searched through the squeaky drawers in the old cabinets in the corner of the room. She bent down and checked underneath the window bench, and even peered inside the bird's nest, perched on the windowsill in case it had ended up in there. Kukai had to admit defeat. Her teddy wasn't there. Kukai huffed with disappointment and muttered, "I've found my perfect bedroom, but where's my teddy?" It seemed that Kukai was finding all sorts of interesting things that she had forgotten about on her journey around the house. But the one thing that she wanted to find, more than anything, she just couldn't. Kukai sat down on the bench by the attic window and sighed. Where had her teddy bear got to? A small silver bird floated down to the windowsill and landed in the nest. It looked up at Kukai through the window with an intrigued expression and said, "Good afternoon, little koala. Why do you look so sad?" Kukai explained to the silver bird how she had lost her teddy bear. She had searched all over the house but hadn't found it anywhere. She didn't understand how her teddy could go missing when she spent so much time with it. The silver bird felt sorry for Kukai. It could see how deflated she was and spotted her rubbing her tired eyes hopelessly. "Why don't you get outside for a bit?" the silver bird suggested. "I always feel better when I fly around in the fresh air. The fresh air might do you some good, too." Kukai smiled softly and agreed that it was a good idea. She often felt better when she ventured outside. Kukai was starting to think that perhaps her teddy bear was lost for good. "Where's my teddy?" she sighed as she made her way out into the garden. Whenever Kukai was feeling a bit out of sorts, she went out to sit or play in the garden. Being beneath the warm sun, smelling the refreshing leaves of the eucalyptus trees, and feeling the cool breeze ruffle through her pink fur, always made her feel a little better. She wandered down the garden path towards the long stretch of bright green grass, thinking about her poor, lost Teddy, when her ears pricked as they noticed an unusual sound. Ahead of her, sitting right by the blackberry bush she had planted at the bottom of the grassy garden, was a little bear. Not a teddy bear, a real bear. The bear had its back to her, but she could see that it was sitting on a red-checkered picnic mat, talking to someone. Koko wondered what this little bear was doing in their family garden, so she wandered closer to find out. As Koko approached the mysterious bear, she noticed that the bear had fluffy golden fur just like her missing teddy. Oh, how she missed her teddy bear. As she got closer, she realized that there was nobody else there. The bear was talking to itself. How peculiar. Eventually, Koko reached the small bear and tapped it on the shoulder to grab their attention. To her amazement, the bear turned around and gazed at her with the same shiny black eyes she had known all her life. She recognized its snub, velvety nose and kind smile. It was her teddy bear. "There you are, Teddy," cried Koko with relief. She gave her teddy a big hug. She was so pleased to find it. But she had a big question. How was her teddy bear moving and talking? As Koko took a closer look at her beloved teddy, she was amazed by its new animated features and soothing voice as it said, "Hello, Koko." Her teddy wasn't a normal stuffed bear anymore. It was a living, walking, talking creature. It was surely magic. Koko wanted to ask her teddy how it had come to be here at the bottom of the garden. But before she could ask, her teddy said cheerfully, "I'm having a tea party, Koko. Would you like to join me?" Koko glanced over her teddy's shoulder to see the teacups, but she couldn't see anything there. Then her teddy sat down on the picnic mat and began pouring into an imaginary cup from an imaginary teapot before holding the cup out to her. Her teddy was playing make-believe, just like she liked to do. Koko smiled and took the imaginary teacup from her teddy's hand. "Thank you. I would love to join you," she said, before taking a fanciful slurp from the invisible teacup. Koko sat down on the picnic mat with her teddy, and they pretended to have a tea party. They ate imaginary jam sandwiches and delicious lemon cake, drank copious amounts of invisible tea, and chatted about the weather, baking tips, and the jolly holidays they would like to go on. Koko and her teddy had a delightful time at their imaginary tea party, so much so that Koko almost forgot about her nap. Almost. After a while, Koko felt her eyelids growing drowsy and she couldn't stop yawning. She tried to keep her eyes on her teddy, but her eyes gradually drooped lower and lower until she could barely keep them open any longer. Her teddy tilted their head at her and commented, "You look tired, Kukai? Is it time for your nap? Kukai nodded her sleepy head slowly. Her teddy smiled and told her to lie down. Then, when Kukai was comfortably curled up on her side, her teddy lifted the picnic mat and placed it over Kukai's body like a blanket. Kukai felt so cozy and warm and allowed her eyes to fully close. Her teddy affectionately stroked her head as she dozed, and Kukai sighed with relief. The cool afternoon breeze blew across her furry pink cheeks, and Kukai took a deep breath in of the fresh eucalyptus scent around her. As her teddy stroked her head, she felt herself relaxing and drifting off to a sweet, sweet slumber. Kukai had found her teddy, and now she could happily take her much-needed nap. Now we're floating into a deep and peaceful sleep. Feel how your muscles are relaxing. Your arms are heavy and your legs are too, as they loosen and release any tension remaining from the day. Feel how you let your body fall into the cozy warmth of your bed. Close your eyes. Let your eyelids be heavy. Breathe deeply. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out as you continue to breathe deeply, and as you keep feeling how your body becomes soft and heavy with sleep. Let your mind drift away. That is the wonderful secret about sleep. While your body rests, lying heavily in your bed, your mind is set free, like a bird taking flight from a branch and flying up and up and up into the air. Feel how your mind loosens now, like a balloon that has been untied from a fence, and floats up and up and up like a bird. Up and up and up it floats towards the sky, until it reaches up into the clouds. Imagine that you have risen up high above the world and your head has poked up through the clouds. Then spread out all around you in the silvery moonlight, white fluffy clouds that look like cotton wool or marshmallows. They look so soft and squishy. You can lie back on them and roll around in them. Try it now. Lie back in the soft cradle of the clouds. Feel how they swirl and wrap around your body, holding you gently in the world of sleep. Clouds come in all shapes and sizes. Some are big and fluffy, some are slender wisps. Some look like puffy mushrooms, and others look like paintbrush strokes that have been left on the dark sky. your body relax. Let your mind relax too. Let your mind float off into sleep. You are peaceful. You are safe. You are being held in the cozy warmth of sleep. With your eyes closed, let your mind drift up, up, up and away. In the world of dreams, you can go anywhere you like. You can float on blue oceans with ripples and tufts of waves. Or you can visit castles built in the sky with spiraling turrets and drawbridges over sparkling moats. Or you can wander into the peaceful woods where the birds are twittering and the trees are dense with dark green leaves. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out again as you fall more deeply into your cozy sleep. And with your eyes still closed, take a look around with your mind at where your dreams have taken you. When I fall asleep, I dream that I've gone to a world high up in the clouds. Sometimes the clouds are dappled silver from the moonlight. Sometimes they're soft pink and gold, reflecting the light of the twinkling stars. What form do your dreams take? Where does your mind go when you fall asleep? Maybe in your dreams there are flocks of white fluffy sheep huddling together on the green fields. Look at the mother ewe yawn widely before she tucks her little lambs beneath her woolly fleece. Or maybe you dream of a friendly dragon, curled up with his tail wrapped around him, a little trail of clouds puffing out of his nostrils. Look, the cloud dragon is smiling at us and waving. What a friendly dragon he is. Or maybe you dream of cute puppies lying on their backs, their tongues lolling out of their mouths, their eyes closing because they've had such a long day. They look tired, and there's their papa dog, fluffy and white, padding softly over to wish the puppies good night. Up here on the sea of clouds, you can be free. Feel how light you are, weightless, floating, drifting through sleep. Feel everything heavy from the day lift off you and drift away, taken away by currents until they disappear over the bank of clouds. Any worries you have been having, watch them float away. Anything that has been weighing on your mind during the daytime, now you can let them go and watch them drift away. Your worries are not you. You are not your worries. You can let them go. Watch them float away. Now you are light as air. You are as gentle as starlight. You are as soft as the clouds. Up in the sleepy sky, everything is weightless and peaceful. The clouds stretch out like a sea of tranquility. Close your eyes and feel the clouds wrap around you. Feel them bearing your body gently into the land of sleep. Feel your eyes close. Feel them rest heavily as your body relaxes into sleep. Feel your mind lighten. Feel it loosen and drift away, light as a feather, soft as the clouds. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. The world of clouds is waiting for you. Let yourself fall into the clouds' soft, warm hug. They're here to protect you. They are here to cushion you. They're here to hold you as you enjoy your deep and peaceful sleep. Sleep well, little one. Sleep well in the land of clouds. Feel how light you are. Feel how weightless, floating, drifting through sleep, light as air, gentle as starlight, soft as clouds. Good night, little one.